European colonizers systematically dismissed African knowledge systems as primitive, backward, or even dangerous. They imposed Western models as the only path to civilization, ridiculing African traditions in medicine, agriculture, spirituality, and governance. Yet today, as Western society faces multiple crises, from environmental collapse to mental health epidemics, we're witnessing a remarkable reversal. The very traditions Europeans once suppressed are now being embraced and repackaged in the West without proper acknowledgement of their African origins. In the field of medicine, they criminalized our herbal healers, labeling their knowledge as mere superstition. Traditional remedies were suppressed in favor of pharmaceutical solutions. Now, as Western medicine confronts antibiotic resistance and opioid epidemics, there's growing interest in our plant-based treatments. Moringa, once a local remedy across Africa, has become a global superfood. South Africa's cancer bush, Sutherlandia, is being studied for its medicinal properties, while rooibos tea has become a worldwide health trend. The bitter irony: many of these remedies are now being patented by Western companies, profiting from knowledge their ancestors tried to erase. Colonizers replaced Africa's diverse, sustainable farming systems with monoculture cash crops. Traditional techniques like crop rotation, intercropping, and natural pest control were dismissed as primitive. Today, as industrial agriculture degrades soil and ecosystems, the West is rediscovering the value of these methods. Fermentation techniques used for centuries in African food preservation are now trendy health hacks. Urban farming initiatives mirror Tanzania's traditional Vinyungu kitchen gardens. The organic food movement, now worth billions, essentially replicates what African farmers have practiced for millennia, working with nature rather than against it. For decades, Western agribusiness dismissed Africa's organic farming and indigenous seeds as backward, pushing GMOs as the only modern solution. Now, as GMOs face scrutiny over health risks and ecosystem damage, the West embraces organic food and heirloom seeds, the very practices African farmers preserved. While corporations still profit from patented seeds, global movements now champion seed sovereignty and agroecology, proving Africa's traditional wisdom was sustainable all along. The ultimate irony? Westerners now pay premium prices for what they once called primitive. African spirituality faced particularly harsh suppression, with traditions like Ifa and Vodun labeled as demonic. Sacred groves were cleared, rituals banned. Today, as their society grapples with spiritual emptiness, elements of these traditions are being repackaged as New Age wellness practices. Forest bathing, strikingly similar to Igbo sacred grove rituals, is prescribed for stress relief. Ancestral veneration reappears as genealogy healing. Sound therapy sessions borrow from Santrance music traditions. The wellness industry profits from these practices, while often failing to credit their African roots. Education systems imposed by colonizers replaced Africa's communal experiential learning with rigid classroom models. Storytelling, apprenticeships, and nature-based education were dismissed as unscientific. Now, as their education model struggles with relevance, alternative models are gaining ground, models that strangely resemble what was displaced. Apprenticeship programs echo Ghana's traditional craft training. Nature-based learning recalls Maasai pastoral education. The recognition that education should be holistic and connected to community reflects our approaches that they worked hard to dismantle. Urban planning tells a similar story of rejection and rediscovery. Colonial administrators mocked African transport systems, footpaths, river canoes, animal caravans, as relics of the past. Traditional settlement patterns that worked with the landscape were replaced by grid systems. Today, as Western cities choke on pollution, there's growing appreciation for walkable communities and sustainable transport. Rwanda's car-free zones in Kigali are held up as models, while European cities rediscover the value of pedestrian spaces. The very approaches once dismissed as backward are now praised as visionary. In fashion and art, the reversal is particularly striking. Traditional African textiles like adire and kente were once dismissed as tribal curiosities. Today, they inspire global fashion trends and fill Western museums. Major exhibitions like the V&A's Africa Fashion showcase African designers, while the Met Gala celebrates Congolese La Sape and South African artists. Yet many of these exhibitions rarely tour Africa itself, raising questions about who benefits from this cultural appropriation. Architecture reveals the same pattern. Traditional African building techniques, using local materials, were replaced by concrete structures. Now, Western architects praise the sustainability of mud brick construction and thatched roofs. Landmarks like Nairobi's African Heritage House and Cape Town's Zeitz Mocha celebrate African design, even as many African cities face pressure to adopt Western-style development that often proves environmentally and socially destructive. This great reversal exposes a profound truth. The Western development model is faltering, while African knowledge systems have shown to stand the test of time. The question remains whether this shift represents genuine respect or partnership, or merely another form of extraction. As African thinkers have long argued, true progress requires decolonizing knowledge, not just repackaging it for Western consumption.